Hello everyone. In this video, I want to discuss the question 7 in the homework 7. Let's see the description of this problem. We know that zt equals n1t times cosine omega c t plus theta and plus n2t times sine omega ct plus theta, where theta is uniformly distributed in 0 to 2 pi, and n1t and n2t are y-sine stationary, and n1t, n2t, and theta are all independent. The first subproblem is to find E expectation of zt, and it equals the expectation of n1t times cosine omega ct plus theta plus n2t times sine omega ct times plus theta, and we know it equals expectation of n1t times expectation of cosine omega ct plus theta, and plus expectation of n2t times expectation of sine omega ct plus theta. And since theta is from 0 to 2 pi, the expectation of cosine and sine are both 0, so the answer is 0. The second subproblem is to find RZ T1 and T2 and judge if ZT is WSS. So RZ T1 T2 equals the expectation of ZT1 times ZT2, and it equals the expectation of N1T1, N1T2 cosine omega CT1 plus theta times the cosine omega CT2 times theta, and add other three items. Because the expectation of N1T1, N1T2 equals the Rn1 of T1 minus T2, and the expectation of N2 T1 times N2 T2 equals Rn2 T1 minus T2, and the expectation of N1 T1 N2 T2 equals the expectation of N2 T1 N1 T2 equals 0. And the expectation of cosine omega ct1 plus theta times cosine omega ct2 plus theta equals the expectation of sine omega ct1 plus theta times sine omega ct2 plus theta equals half of cosine omega c times t1 minus t2, and let tau equals t1 minus t2, then RZ t1 t2 equals 1 over 2 times Rn1 tau plus Rn2 tau times cosine omega omega c tau. So the Zt is WSS. The last problem is to find RZ0 if Zt is WSS. So RZ0 equals RZ T1 equals 0, T2 equals 0, and it equals 1 over 2 times Rn1 0 plus Rn2 0, and times cosine omega c times 0, and it equals 1 over 2 times Rn1 0 plus Rn2 0, and it equals 1 over 2 times the expectation of N1 t squared plus expectation of N2 t squared.